Brawlhalla just revealed Red Raptor, the newest legend that's dropping, my guess, next week. So let's take a look at all of these boots and orb signatures, starting with the orb end sig. And by the way, these set of sigs are some of the coolest in the entire game. You can see this end sig right here. You're summoning a giant robot punch out of a portal. It's an anti-air. This hitbox is extremely generous. You can see right there, it's hitting at the very tippy top. And there are some caveats, but before that, this is the charge animation. You can see out of the portal comes the giant punch. And yes, this is an anti-air, meaning it will not hit on the ground. You can see during that charge animation, it was not it's not on the ground. And this is the caveat that I was mentioning, which is that for as generous as the hitbox is, there's really not a lot of active frames. It's only as that green source of energy, those impact lines are active. Otherwise, you're going to be able to dodge right through that, even jump right through it, even if the animation is still there. So as incredible of a move this is, it still does have a downside. One of them does not appear to be recovery time though. As you can see, you're jumping out of here very, very quickly. You're using this end sig to maybe try and hit an opponent that's trying to land. And even though you miss it, you're still able to jump out in time. And what we saw right there is a sneak peek of the orb side sig, which you're summoning a bike. You're summoning a bike and you can just keep riding, then you jump off. It just looks fun. It just looks fun. What can I say? Also, that little jump is important. I'll get into that in a second, but check this out. It's just like Mako's side sig on the greatsword. You could just keep riding. You could just keep riding and riding and riding, and then you're off into the sunset, jumping off. That little jump is going to make it harder to punish, as well as make it more and more fluid to use. So that's a lot of fun. Also, you can, yeah, I mean, you can just travel the length of the stage, and it stops once you hit an opponent. So you can't keep on going and going and going. It's not going to be able to carry them all the way into the blast zone, but I mean, it kind of auto stops, so that's also nice. You don't have to manually do it, and you can land on the platform. That's a little funny. Also, one little thing is that you're not going to be able to unsee this now. Red Raptor, when he's facing to the left, you can see his eye, but when he's facing to the right, you can't. That's yeah. So this move doesn't really hit stacked, but if you're close enough to stacked, if the bike hits stacked, then it will hit. That's what I was showing in those series of clips right there. There are a couple goofy interactions, like if you go into a wall, you're just stuck there. You can be full punished for that. And also, this is the length of the distance you go when you just tap the button. This move is gonna be fun. So I'm just excited to use it. But let's move on now to the down sig, which is a big boot. It's summoning the fist, but now you're summoning a foot. And it's just great. And it's just great. Even landing it on the stage is fine. It's not like it only spikes downward, because of course, I mean, you're looking at this move, it's gonna spike downward, but there is a difference between an on-stage version and an off-stage version. Right here, you can see it's very useful as a dodge and punish. It's gonna launch horizontally. See, it's bad if it launches down, if it hits on the ground, because that way force is reduced by like 20% each bounce. But the fact that it has the horizontal shot, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Look, it's different. It's different when you do it in the air and on the ground. You can see right here, you're stomping on the ground. In the air, it extends a little further. Also, the animation's different. Okay, what I was saying there is you don't want a grounded move to hit the ground first. So the fact that it doesn't is very good. You can see that hitbox extension right here. So yes, it does have an aerial version. It does have a grounded version. This one's gonna spike. They actually didn't show it spiking in the dev stream, but you can see a couple examples right here of where that would be useful. Slide charging off the map and all that. But let's move on now, because I gotta get through these quickly, to the battle boots end sig, which is a very cool move. You're flipping through the air. It is an anti-air. And then finally, you're ending off with that big ol' kick horizontally. Now this is an interesting clip because you can use it to GC recovery, but also it might drop if you do that. But what you might not notice is, look at this hitbox. Look at where this hits as you're spinning in the air. That still has an active hitbox, so that is quite a threatening move. Now this is the boots side sig. At first, it may just look like a standard. You're moving forward with a punch and then a kick. It's kind of like a Ryan side sig on the spear in that respect. But it does also have that final kick blast at the very end, even if you don't connect with the rest of it. And what I wanted to show off here is this charge animation. Check this out. You're being lifted off the ground with the power and the propulsion of your boots before finally ending off with that kick. And as for the hitbox, like I was showing, can you hit it stacked like the other side sig? No, you cannot. So neither of these side sigs can hit stacked, but they can hit pretty close to stacked as long as you have an active hitbox that's alongside, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. You get what I'm saying. I'm sorry, I haven't examined like 20 minutes. Guys, I'm not okay. Let's move on to this final sig here. It's the down sig on the boots. It's this flash, and then you have this vertical hit. It's very much like a boots nair, but on the ground. And then of course you're finishing off with this giant flare. You can see there's some characters that pop up. That's probably has to do with the lore. That hitbox is quite generous. Now this move is interesting. This move is very interesting because like the boots nair, depending on where you hit the kick, it's gonna be a little bit different. And there is a hitbox that travels in that crescent moon shape. You can see right there, it didn't hit right away, but then it finally looped around to the back of the hit. In that case, in terms of hitbox and where people are getting sent, you can see it's different on every single one of these clips. It's kind of like the Reno Orb down sig in that respect, also like the Onyx Cannon down sig in that respect. Either way, the character looks super fun, the sigs look amazing, but I was not joking. I have to log into Moodle now. Bye.